Alright, guys, welcome to the first ever Harry Potter podcast. Not just the first ever on this channel, but literally the first ever Harry Potter podcast. Believe it or not, don't bother looking it up on YouTube because I guarantee this is the only one. Um, but I'm with Connor today, and a few of you guys have asked us in the last video to actually do this, which I'm surprised because I didn't actually expect anybody to care. So, hello, Connor.
Hello, Michael. Yeah, neither did I. I think we suggested it. Like, I put it out there. A few people down below said, "But what if we enjoy this?" So let's get to it.
All right. So, the idea of this first podcast is we're just gonna I have a topic list here for those who are listening, of just the standard stuff that you guys might want to actually hear us talk about. It's not just going to be us just rambling about shit, because that's not actually something we can do on the fly. That just tends to happen when we're playing, which we're not doing right now. So, alright, well, first topic of the list is what introduced you to the series? And I'm going to let Connor go into this one.
Yeah, so we pitched these ideas first, before we started this. So I had to think long and hard about this because I don't know. It's something I've been with since I'm very young. Obviously, we've grown up with the series, so it's always been there. With the movies, the books coming out, and stuff like that. But I think it was around. I was born in 1999, so I mean you're a few years old, so I don't really remember the first movie coming out. But my grandma and my auntie was reading the books. And then when Chamber of Secrets was coming out, I was about 4, and my grandma wanted to let me, her and my auntie went, "Do you want to come and watch it?" And my mum and dad went, "Yeah, you can go." So I think I went to watch that, and I don't really remember much of it. I remember that after that, I went and bought the first on the VHS. For people who don't know what they are, if you're a bit younger, videotapes, not a thing of today. And then I was not really interested in it, but then when I first got my PS1, the first game console, I got Chamber of Secrets with it, and I think that's the best way to that introduced me to the series. Video game, all kids want, and so I played that for hours on end. And then when Prison of Azkaban came out, I went to watch that with my grandma, and it really my grandma who got me introduced. And then on my 7th birthday, she bought me the first book, and that's when I really got into the series. Reading the books, because I can watch a movie in a cinema for ages, but I don't know, it's not as really interactive as playing the games or reading the books for. And then since then, I've always had an interest in it, and it's just grown and grown over the years. And even after 2011, when the Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out, it took a bit of a dip, but I was always interested in just to learn more about the thing. And I think Pottermore's really helped just grow that and keep everyone interested in it. So how did you get into the series, Mike? I mean, in America, I don't know if it was really, really big when it first came out, or...
Well, the movies were, that's for sure. I didn't know about it until maybe 2002. It was shortly before the Chamber of Secrets came out. I know that for sure because I remember watching the first movie, which is what got me into the series, but I remember the Chamber of Secrets it was coming out, or I think it was already out in theaters, maybe, because I remember I remember this very fondly, but I remember going to a store. It's called Sam's Club, for those who are in America probably know about it, but it's like a big department store where they have you could buy bulk food and furniture and stuff like that. And they were playing Chamber of Secrets on the TVs. And I remember standing there and just watching. I think the scene was when Harry and Tom Riddle were in the Chamber of Secrets. So I remember that. So it was probably either when the second movie was coming out or after it already came out, because I guess it was almost on DVD. So it was some summer day, I think, and my sister was just flipping through channels on TV, and it was on like one of the higher movie channels or whatever. And she stopped at Harry Potter because I guess she had seen it already. And she's like, "Oh, Michael, you'd love this." And I'm like, "What is it?" She's like, "Oh, it's a movie about magic and stuff. You'll love it." And I'm like, "All right, whatever." So I sat there and watched it, and turns out I really liked it. Believe it or not,
I wouldn't have
I
guessed.
really enjoyed it. So, yeah, like I remember I got that movie for Christmas that year, and a little bit after Christmas, I think I got Chamber of Secrets on VHS. And I remember watching Chamber of Secrets over and over and over again,
Yeah,
like just continuously
yeah,
on loop.
because Prisoner of Azkaban didn't come out in 2003, it came out in 2004, because there was like a year gap and there was not a new Harry Potter movie come out. So I remember I just watched Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, because I was getting to the age, like, you can start remembering stuff when you're 4 and 5, and I just remember just watching them two on loop all the time. And I think that's why some people don't really tend to like not like the first two films because of how but since they were like the first two things, I just watched them all the time. I just love them, it's really like that's what got me into Harry Potter, them first two films.
It always amazed me why people didn't like, or people don't like Chamber of Secrets. I guess because of the length.
Yeah,
or whatever,
but some people say it's too long. Yeah.
But I
But
could
like
not love it. Like I watched the
Yeah.
scene in the Chamber of Secrets where Harry kills the basilisk a million times, and
It never
that
gets
shit,
old.
It never does. It's always great. It always makes me
And like coming
very
up to like the
happy.
favourite scenes is like a scene that to me just never gets old, sort of thing. I
Oh,
could watch it a million
absolutely.
times, and yeah.
I think after Chamber of Secrets, that whole phase where I just watched it continuously, I had like the Harry Potter Lego sets. I had like a
Yeah.
calendar. I had
Like, as a-
posters on the wall. I had toys.
I had like a Yeah, I had literally, I like cut my grandma bought me this. I think I got rid of them a few years ago. Like when I used to get my grandma's, I'd have this plate where it's from the first film. When Harry's out in delivering Hedwig in the snow just after you see him a Mirror of Erised, and there's that beautiful music. Come on, there's a picture of that on my plate. I had a cup, I had a bowl, I had like Quidditch robes, a Nimbus 2. Like I had all these really random stuff. Like it's like I were a collector, but I were a kid, so. I don't know. I didn't understand. Like, oh, cool. I have a like every kid just wanted a broomstick, didn't they? And my grandma bought me one for Christmas. I just ran around with it all the time.
It's a shame when you're a kid and
But
you
yeah,
don't
like
realize what you have until you don't
yeah,
have it anymore. Now that you're an adult,
yeah,
like,
yeah. Like I was like yeah. When we was talking, when you first pitched the idea of doing this, I was thinking all the stuff I used to have, and like, damn, I wish I still had them sort of stuff. Because I'm just like I've got like on my wall sort of thing. I've got all these. I've sent you a picture of my, like, all the books, games, DVD, Ultimate Editions, all the stuff, like the basic stuff. If you've got it, like all the DVDs, but like the Ultimate Editions. But I haven't got any like Lego sets anymore, which were really cool to use. I mean, the only thing I've got that is a Gryffindor scarf.
yeah, I was gonna bring up
Cause,
the Lego sets because, like, I
yeah,
remember, I think it was maybe my birthday in 2003. I want to say 2003. So this is probably before some people were even alive that are listening to this right now.
yeah. So
I
yeah, it's in
was,
between. It's just after Chamber of Secrets, before Prisoner,
yeah, I was turning
like
8,
in
I
limbo.
believe. And I got the big ass, like the biggest Harry Potter Lego set there could be at the time, which was the castle place set. It was like of the Great Hall and the Grand Staircase Tower.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah, I
It
never
was
had that one, but
it
that
was the
was
Sorcerer's
quite
Stone
expensive
one.
to.
It was like
Yeah,
$100 and
yeah,
something back then. It's probably way more
yeah.
now because of inflation and whatever,
Oh,
and
it will
the
be. Yeah,
rarity. But
yeah.
like, if I would have been able to
Well, you
keep
speak it. I'll
that,
look it up on Amazon.
I had that castle. I had like some flying set, which was also, I think, from, it might have been from the Chamber of Secrets series of Lego sets. I always wanted the Chamber of Secrets playset, and I never got it because it was too expensive. I had Slytherin Common Room playset because I needed Crab and Goyle. Um, I had the third year castle, which was of the clock tower, which was my favorite. It still is. And I think that was it. I think I stopped collecting Lego sets after that because I think I lost all my Legos, or I just lost interest in Legos or something, which is stupid, but it happens. But yeah, like it sort of went up from there. I had the first book. I don't remember what year it was. I read it, and I remember for school that you would always get book reports, and I would always do the Sorcerer's Stone because I read it
like
once, but I've seen the movie a gajillion times, so it's so easy to do a book report on.
Yeah.
And nobody cared.
We have a World Book Day. We have World Book Day here in the UK, and you use when in like primary school, we used to dress up as characters from books, and I always used to dress up as Harry Potter and just take a Harry Potter like all the time. Literally, I had like a Gryffindor robe. I remember for Christmas one time I got just after the fourth film came out, the other Dragon Task. I had that, and I just had like all these glasses and stuff. I don't even wear glasses, but I had the circular glasses. I never owned a wand or anything, but like Lego, I think I had I definitely had the Night Bus.
Oh, I had the Night Bus
set,
too. I had that one and
and
it was the play set, the Marauders map, the Marauders map play set, which came with Lupin and
that's
Snape.
one I had. Yeah. And do you always remember like Snape used to have that really weird coloured skin?
Yeah, he had the glowing head.
In the Lego sets, like the grey. Yeah.
So weird.
Mm.
But yeah, that's where it kickstarted the series for me. I read the first book, and every time a new one would come out, my parents would go and buy it for me. But when I was a kid, I wasn't gonna read fucking Order of the Phoenix. Here is like 825 pages because pictures.
I'm just looking at mine now. Yeah, there's it's not a kid's version, but it's the normal set sort of thing. I think 766 pages, something along those lines. But I've got the adult cover. So it's a bit smaller, a bit more condensed. I think it's something like 900 pages long. But I remember I started reading them when I was 8. Yeah, 8, and it was just before the Deathly Hallows coming out that year. So I started in January, and I think Deathly Hallows came out in June. And I think I got up to about the 4th book by that time, and I turned 9 that year, 8 that year. Sorry. So I would have been 7. Sorry, yeah. So I turned 8 that year. And I remember just reading all up to the 4th one. I bought the 7th one the day it came out. That was the only book release I can ever really remember for Harry Potter, other than Cursed Child, and obviously. But I didn't read it for 3 or 4 years because I don't know. I don't know if you've ever had like this dip of just not really being interested in Harry Potter. For a few years up until I went to watch the sixth film, but I wasn't into Harry Potter anymore. It was sort of growing away, but it sort of built up towards the last one, and then it's lasted ever since then. A real a 2-year stint of just falling out of Harry Potter. I just didn't read the 7th book until just before Deathly Hallows came out.
People are gonna hate me for saying this, and I know you know, but I read the first book when I was younger, and I had them all, and then we moved so much that I just didn't have any books anymore when I actually wanted to read them, which was 2014, which is the year I read every book in the series. It's terrible, I know, but I also read them out of order, which people might hate me for that too.
Because I remember it was the 4th book you hadn't read, or the 4th and 2nd, was it?
It was the 4th and 2nd.
Yeah.
I had the 6th book. For some reason, the Half-Blood Prince is the only book I kept throughout all the years, which sucks because my other collection was nothing but hardcover, and now I have a couple of soft covers, and
my collection's really random. I don't know why, because obviously it was 20 years since Philosopher's Stone got released a few weeks ago, and I just saw on Amazon, I thought, £3 for a 20th special edition Gryffindor book, even though I had the Philosopher's Stone original cover. I bought it, and it's just got a quiz at the end. I don't know, it's just, new cover, gotta buy that. and like it's just ruined the collection a bit.
I read
But my Deathly Hallows has been destroyed.
I have Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Goblet of Fire, and Deathly Hallows are all softcover, and I have Prisoner of Azkaban hardcover, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince. Those are the 3 hardcovers. But yeah, I didn't read them. When I was a kid, I had them all.
But you have now.
But there were so many pages that I was just like, nah, I'll get around to it one day. I kept saying that, and I just
the
never
movie's coming
did.
out.
But like, I had this resurgence in 2014. It was so random. Like
Yeah,
you
mine was
said,
around a year after Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out.
like you said, there was that time where I just stopped watching, and I think for me it was around like it was after Goblet of Fire. I think it was probably like 2006 to probably 2014. Like that was I'm not kidding. Like I would anytime it was on TV or something, I would watch, or like if it was on demand, or like, you know, anytime it came on that I could watch it, I would watch because they're good movies. But after Goblet of Fire came out, I had it on DVD. I got it. I think I went and seen it in theaters, and when Order of the Phoenix came out, I just never went to see it. I never saw it until about 2009. So
you
like
just
2
before Half-Blood
years.
Prince. Yeah, I remember you telling me this.
Because my sister got a burnt copy of
yeah.
Half-Blood Prince, and I didn't want to watch it because I hadn't seen Order of the Phoenix yet. And I never read the books, so I didn't know what the hell the story was going to be. It's not like I could have skipped Order of the Phoenix because it's kind of important. So
Yeah, contrary to what anyone says about you're able to skip movies, you're not.
yeah, you can't. Like, I can't skip the movies.
You
I
just,
didn't.
you know.
As much as I don't like
I can't,
Half-Blood
even
Prince,
now,
I
even
can't
more.
skip it.
Yeah. Even now, even though I know the story like the back of my hand, I just don't feel right. You know, just if a random movie comes on the TV channels, I couldn't just go and watch it.
Well, I
No,
can.
I'd have to watch first
other-
to last.
The other night I watched both, or like a week ago I watched both Deathly Hallows just because I felt like it.
Mm.
But I don't do that often. I like to watch them in
Yeah.
order. So yeah, I fell off. 2014, I think there was like a Harry Potter weekend on TV, and I watched all of them. And that's where the love came back, man. Like, that's when I started the fucking Hogwarts. That's the year. It was that summer
Yeah, and-
of 2014.
Like that, yeah. But I think I really, obviously, I joined them up a few, like January 1st, 2015. I had a real resurgence in 2014. I had I went on a studio tour. It was just, oh yes, and obviously that was the time Fantastic Beasts was announced. So the Harry Potter world was coming back. Pottermore was getting big. So 2014, I think that was like that was the year everyone got reinserted into Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. I feel like now I'm a bigger fan than I was as a kid, but you know, when you think back on those memories, you just think like there was nothing that was stopping me from watching Harry Potter. Like, I would wake up, I would stare at my posters on the wall, I'd get dressed, I'd go to school, come back home, and then watch Chamber of Secrets until it was time for bed, or I'd play the games.
I'd play. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, me and my friends are like we'd always play. I think Chamber of Secrets PS2 was a game we'd always play. I remember buying Order of the Phoenix on PS2, running around to my friend's house, and it's the real Hogwarts, like full scale, first time it's really happened, and you're like, oh, like the memories that like I've always thought like I don't know, was I that interested in Harry Potter when I was younger? Did I fully understand the story? Because it is quite a complex story after the third one. Yeah,
You never
it's not
really
real.
grasp
As much as
it.
it's described as a children's film. No, like I remember coming out of, even though I read the books, I still didn't understand the resurrection stone and stuff when I was 10, 11, whatever, you know, like 12. When I first read the books, even after I watched the Deathly Hallows Part 2, I still didn't understand it. And like it's over time I've read into it. I think I'm a much bigger fan now. I have much broader knowledge of Harry Potter. I'm not saying like I know everything, because I definitely don't. But the research that we've done for the map, I think that's really helped us, like I say in the last video, really helps us become massive well, bigger Harry Potter fans than we probably were at the start of creating the map. But this isn't about the map. This is a podcast. Yeah, should we move on to the second question?
I just want to touch on something.
Section. All right, yeah.
I don't even dude. I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Never mind.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Whatever. We're moving on. Favorite movie and why?
Well, before we go into a favorite movie and least favorite movies, they are all fantastic movies. They're all brilliant, but it's like more of a thing we can. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that this movie is better than all the others, because you all have an opinion. I'm not saying that my movie or Michael's movie that we pick as our worst is the worst. They're all great movies. I love them all, but I mean, I really love Chamber of Secrets. Obviously, we speak about it. I'd always used to watch it when I was younger, and it's a nostalgic thing. But it's a film I actually hated until about 4 years ago. It's got a Goblet of Fire is my favourite. I don't like the storyline behind it. Obviously, you've got the way it starts. You know, with Wormtail reunited with Voldemort. You know, you can tell it's going to be a dark film. You have the title's darker. Everything's dark. A man gets killed straight away. Like, you don't know who he is really. If you read in the movie, you don't hear his name, Frank. And then you got the Quidditch World Cup. It's exciting. There's this amazing, dangerous tournament. Like, it's more of an adult film. You know, it's more grown-up film than the last three. Mike Newell, who directed it, really understands how a British school works. I felt like I could connect with some of the stuff that is happening inside the school, because like it's similar to my, like when I was that age, you can connect to what happens there. The soundtrack from Patrick Doyle, I think, is brilliant. You know, some of the Harry and Winter, some of the other sound. If you just go on Spotify and get the Harry Potter soundtracks, were brilliant. And the storyline, though, you know, you've got Voldemort lurking in the background, Harry having these dreams of him getting more powerful, and I think it stems from. It doesn't leave much out either from the book. Like,
yeah,
you know, you compare movies sometimes to the books. I know you shouldn't because time constraints, but I think Goblet of Fire does the best. It drops. Like, the spew stuff, that even J.K. Rowling said that's one of her regrets from the book. She wished she never put the elf welfare society in from Hermione. You know, it's a waste of time. You don't need it in. The only thing, like, obviously they drop Ludo Bagman. It'd have been cool to see him as a character in the book, in the movie, because I think he's a really good character in the book, really well written.
They also
it's kept to a really good storyline to the book, you know, very true.
Yeah, I think the only real complaint, I mean, minus the whole Dumbledore thing, because I'm not gonna bitch about that because I don't care. But
I mean, I can talk about that, but, you know.
Reading the book compared to the movie, the death of Crouch is a little like. You know, it's a little iffy.
Yeah, it's a little glossed over.
Yeah, it's a little forgotten about, which...
But I think there's a deleted scene, obviously. I mean, you know, it's quite a long film. I think it's 2.5 hours, so there's a few...
I think we lost
in the Gryffindor comic with Ron and Hermione.
Hold on. You might cut out for a second there. Can you repeat that?
Right, I'm back. So yeah, there's like Harry and Ron and Hermione really worried in the Gryffindor common room about this, and like that's when he goes to Dumbledore. He doesn't go straight to Dumbledore after he's seen Crouch being murdered. There's some explanation about it, but yeah, like there's not much miss from the movie. That's good, obviously, and the dialogue, you know, the acting involved as well. Of obviously Amos Diggory, the end part where. He's over Cedric's body. You know, the acting, it's some of the best in the series. You know, you've got Ralph Fiennes, some great actors. Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort. You first see Voldemort in this film. It's where it starts to change. It's like it's the beginning of the main plot, basically. You know, the first three are sort of standalone sort of movies where they've each got their own little story, but from the fourth one to the last one, it's always connected story about Voldemort and him gaining power again.
I heard a great explanation about Goblet of Fire. I don't remember what video it was, but somebody said like, this is like the end of the movie where you finally see Voldemort and the big reveal is like it's one of the most impactful scenes just because it takes like what you said, like a children's series, and cranks it all the way up. Like it's when you realize as a viewer, like this is about to things are about to get really dangerous. Like the danger's always been there because that's one of the biggest intrigues in the series, but that's the turning point where it goes from being like, all right, this is like a fantasy to being holy shit, Harry could die at any moment. And
like obviously in the first three films, Voldemort, he's been talked about, but he's you don't really ever see him. You see him in the first film. You don't see him at all in the third or second. You see Tom Riddle, but this one, he's always in the background. He keeps having these nightmares. He's really building up to something big, and just I don't know why I used to hate it. Like maybe it was when I was younger. I preferred like the sort of children's films. The first three. Well, maybe the first two. Sorry. The third was pretty dark in itself.
Yeah.
With the dementia, everything. But it's quite a dark storyline, with murder on the loose and stuff. And it's not as family friendly. It's all changed from the Chris Columbus era of the first two. But yeah,
I think when you're older, you can appreciate some of the more complexities in it.
That's what I like. The soundtrack. That's what as a kid, you don't care about John Williams or Patrick Doyle or Nicholas Hooper's scores. The music really does make a difference in some of the scenes. If you didn't have music in some of the scenes, they wouldn't have much as an impact. Like in the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Lily's theme when the film first begins. Snape. Look, it gives me chills every time. But like, imagine just Snape just stood there looking over the people coming in and not having any music. Or when Harry's in the Goblet of Fire. My best example is Harry in Winter when Harry's walking up to the owlry. And he bumps into Cho. It's just him walking up in the snow if there's no music there. You can the music sort of gives you a feel of the environment, the situation.
One big thing.
And it sort of grows the films up, the fourth one.
Yeah, one big thing I only really picked up on recently is it's kind of a big deal when Cedric dies. Because that's like the first real proper on-screen death in the series. Like I mean, Frank dies at the beginning, but you don't see Voldemort. You just see the light, and he dies. And
you don't see Frank's body.
Yeah. Cedric was the first, I guess, established character in the series that died in full view of the screen. You saw him get hit. You saw Wormtail shoot the spell. You saw him fall and die. And his body
and
dead.
And you see Harry grasping hold of it, when they return to Hogwarts. Then I think even the actors, I forgot what the guy, I forgot the guy who plays Amos Diggory, but the guy who plays Amos Diggory, his reaction, it's such great acting. I think obviously the first three, the kids, they're building up as actors, but the fourth one, it's where they become like, right, these are the proper actors now, they know what they're doing. And they can deliver the lines, And it's not too... Obviously, there's a romantic side with the U-Ball, but it doesn't focus too much into that, obviously. Other than, like, Half-Blood Prince. It sticks to a storyline, and it hits the key points in the book, and does them really well. Some of the CGI in that film as well, like, that's, the underwater scenes, the dragons and stuff, some of it feels all real.
One of the biggest things
and something you can relate to.
One of the biggest things I always enjoyed about the Goblet of Fire was it's just an entertaining movie from the beginning to the end. There's not a lot of downtime between like the tasks and everything that goes on. Like it's just constant on your feet, like edge of your seat action. And that's good because like the first two movies especially had a lot of downtime, which isn't bad by any means, but it's just the fourth movie is a very entertaining watch from beginning to end. Like you never feel like you're being forced into a storyline or something. It's just you're there for the ride.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think maybe part of the Dumbledore thing made me hate it a bit more than I should have. But it's now definitely my favourite film, without a doubt. But yeah, like that's not Michael Gambon's fault. You can't blame Michael Gambon if it says Steve Clovers, who writes the script, if he put calmly, he'd have done it calmly. Obviously, Michael Gambon just does what the script tells him to, and the stage directions and stuff. And I think he does really well at the end of the film. When he's sat with Harry in in the boys' dormitory, talking about setting the curtains on fire, and there'll be a choice between what is easy and what is right from now. As much as Michael Gambon gets stickers, uh, he gets a lot of abuse for that scene. You get to look at him in the sixth film. I think he's brilliant. The fifth film, he's good.
He's good in the third one too. It's the
In the
first
third
time you ever
film,
see
the
him.
third one, yeah. That's what I mean. Like Dumbledore's described as this quirky sort of mischievous guy. I mean, Richard Harris in the first two films, I think he fits it really well. But the third film, he's with the Buckbeak scenario at the end. I think with Richard Harris being able to pull that off as good as Michael Gambon, and when you look at the dueling scenes between him and Voldemort, the the end of the fifth film, with the I think one of the best scenes, the possession scene. I think he does a great job as Dumbledore, and it's just because if he just started as Dumbledore, Michael Gambon, the first film, no one would have been complaining about his performances.
Dumbledore almost seemed like he was a king in the first two movies, and I feel like he had an aura in those movies that was like so far beyond that he almost didn't feel human.
And with Michael Gambon, you can sense, like when you obviously when you read in the books and you hear about it slightly in the movies about Dumbledore having this dark past, with Ariana. You see it in the sixth film when he's drinking the potion, and you hear about it in the books. You can sense, like I couldn't. When you look at Richard Harris' version of Dumbledore, you can't believe that guy's done, being involved in that sort of stuff. But with Michael Gambon, you can sort of sense like Dumbledore, yeah.
I
Which I don't know
agree.
if you want to, because obviously you want Dumbledore to seem as this all-caring man, but in the end, he has had a dark, troubled past. And I can't wait to see we're not forgetting Jude Law, and he's going to be playing the young Dumbledore in the Fantastic Beasts. Who will he take inspiration from?
We'll see.
But yeah, Michael, I know the answer to this, but let's ask you anyway, to tell the viewers what is your favourite film and why?
Oh, definitely Half Blood Prince. It's definitely no, seriously. Prisoner of Azkaban. Obviously, it's
I get that
it's
seriously.
it's obvious. Like I think I've expressed it in videos before, but if this is like the first video you've ever watched of us, I'm just gonna ask first of all why. Second of all, if you don't know, my favorite movie is Prisoner of Azkaban, and simply I just like it's so hard to explain, and I've tried to explain it to a million people, but like there's just something that feels right in Prisoner of Azkaban that no other movie just has. It just does. No movie in the series has the same feeling as Prisoner of Azkaban. None. None. None of them do. And it's not that like, the directors got worse or whatever, but The Prisoner of Azkaban felt truly unique to itself. It feels like it doesn't have Voldemort as an antagonist for one. I mean, he's always there, obviously, but it's the only one in the series where he doesn't feel like he's a direct threat to Harry. And that's interesting because you've got Sirius Black now, who's painted as the red herring villain, who does a great job, obviously. And it's just it feels, I guess, so different when I first watched it that it just automatically attracted to me. I like things that are really like unique, I guess, things that don't feel the same as everything else. And I guess just the way that Alfonso Cuarón did like the camera angles, like the fancy like his panoramic angles where they just go and it flows so well and it feels so good because he has these unique things that for some reason don't make it into the other movies. I guess just directing styles, but like the cool shots where the camera goes through the glass of the clock tower, or into the mirror in the Defense Against the Dark Arts class, or just small things like the kids' uniforms being different, the color tones being different, Lupin being introduced to the series, which is one of my favorite characters, cool ass things like werewolves, and Buckbeak is introduced, and you learn a lot about Harry's parents' past when you learn about Lupin and Sirius being Harry's godfather, and how how Wormtail is a scumbag piece of shit who is a liar. And when I think about Harry Potter, like, this is what it all comes down to. When I think Harry Potter, I think Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the first thing that comes to my head when I hear Harry Potter. So
yeah, like, what I like about Prisoner of Azkaban is it does change the series completely. Alfonso Cuarón comes in to replace Chris Columbus. Chris Columbus is still, part of the Harry Potter franchise at that point. But the first two films, I don't know, it feels almost too perfect. The Disney sort of school, the neat little uniforms, everyone's really, but it doesn't feel like a British school. I know you might not see it, but Prisoner of Azkaban onwards to Deathly Hallows, kinda. I mean, we don't have wars at school, but to Half-Blood Prince, it just feel like a British school, and Alfonso Cuarón came in, he changed everything up. Like, it almost seemed this Dickensian sort of perfect world in the first two, Diagon Alley and stuff like that, and they always wore the little Hogwarts stuff, everywhere they went. In the second film, they're wearing them in Diagon Alley. Why are you wearing your school uniform, you poor people? Don't you have anything else to wear? Why are you wearing your little Hogwarts robes? You don't got school for another 4 weeks.
They barely wore their civilian clothes in the first two movies.
Yeah. But they literally, I mean, the war. To be fair, though, the war, we didn't wear them to Diagon Alley. But when going to Hogwarts, which I understand, because you're going through a Muggle train station, they're wearing Muggle clothes. But even then, like out in the grounds, they started to wear normal clothes. Like in the Prison of Azkaban, which makes sense. But yeah, I like how he changed everything. I love the camera shots, as you said. Where it's changing seasons. With the Whomping Willow. Each time a season changes, he's featured with the birds and stuff. I'm guessing it's a he.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like the characters in that book that were introduced are really like important to the series, because before that, the characters introduced come and go. The Quirrells, you have Lockharts and stuff. It just influenced Fletcher, but in Prison of Azkaban, you start to see a staple of like characters who got to be the main bunch to eventually go and fight Voldemort. Obviously, it's Sirius, Lupin. Like, these are really main characters, essential to the plot. That change stuff for the story. The characters before who they didn't really change the story at all, and you start to see this switch of like the growth of Harry, like Harry's main characteristics. You see it starts where Harry starts to learn about himself. The first two, it is about luck, but the third one, like, it shows he's a good wizard and he can do, he can perform real good magic. He's a powerful wizard, and it's the one where they all grow up. It's changed completely. The movies. That's why I think it's really important that everything changes in Prison of Azkaban. The characters grow up. The castle changes to more of a
clock
like
tower.
Not this perfect world. Yeah, but it's not this perfect world anymore. Like, everything's not all neat and tidy. Obviously, you see the clock tower where the clock tower courtyard is all ruined. Like, it feels like a real castle now.
I think the backdrop where they filmed it on location in Scotland.
Yeah, in Scotland. Yeah, in the Scottish Highlands.
And that setting continued throughout the series because it's so good. It fits so well. I mean, they had the on location sets in the first two movies, but again, they felt
Yeah, and
too
Castle.
they felt too like fantasy, which is
Yeah,
fine.
not when I say two, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, well, it's
But
fine, you know,
it
but
it
like
doesn't feel real and
yeah,
like rooted to
exactly.
the series.
But yeah, that Prisoner of Azkaban, like it's just again, it's what I think of when I think of Harry Potter. It's the instant
And like
thing that comes to
even
my
the
mind.
music, even
Oh,
the
the
music
music was
style changes.
amazing.
John Williams sort of from the first two films. He added a lot of different. I know some people might not care about the soundtrack, but like I said before, some of them music makes scenes in films.
Just look at the Night Bus
You've got the
theme.
the Night Bus. That is it's like it won't be as fun. It's fast paced, fun music. It won't be as fun if it was just Harry driving round in that bus. When like just before he's about to hit the window, the da 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 da, and then the smack, when Harry hits the window. Like the black humour in the film's really, really good. Like the shrunken heads, even J.K. Rowling says, I wish I'd have thought of them. Lenga Henry is the shrunken head in the Night Bus. He's brilliant. You know.
That Night Bus scene is made because of the shrunken head and his interaction
Yeah,
with.
Lenga Henry's brilliant.
It's so
But
good.
in the behind the scenes stuff on the DVDs, there's these interviews and like Lenga Henry's there as the shrunken head asking the funny questions. It's quite funny really. But also just like the Buckbeak flying scene, the drums. We'd never heard drums in Harry Potter before. And it allowed the next guys to explore with music. Alexander Desplat, Nicholas Hooper with fireworks, with the electric guitar and stuff. Instead of being stuck in this fantasy sort of music, the Hegby's tune and the stereotypical Harry Potter music, it allowed them to create new stuff.
Fun fact before we switch to the next topic. When I was younger, like it was probably a little bit after I saw Prisoner of Azkaban. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I loved the scene with Harry and Hedwig, or not Hedwig, Harry and Buckbeak so much that when I was a kid and there was like this big hill near my house, I used to ride down that hill on my bike like all the time. And I would always do that thing where Harry like spread his arms out wide.
I used to do that and like yeah. I don't know why. I actually thought, oh, this is what Harry on Hedwig. Yeah, I actually did that just after the movie came out. I remember doing that when I first learned to ride a bike. I did that.
I did that
down
all the time.
Down my street. Yeah.
It's so cool. I don't know. Anyway, we got to move on because
Yeah.
we're already at 43 minutes.
Wow, favourite book and why? Right. There's the next topic. Favourite book and why? Are we going me first?
Yep.
I mean, you've just taught, so yeah. Oh, right. Again, I mean, this is harder than I think the movies because literally this is a source material. J.K. Rowling has such great a way of writing with great detail, just explaining everything, the storylines. And it came down to between one of the two longer ones, Order of the Phoenix or Half-Blood Prince. And I think Order of the Phoenix just nods it. I don't know, like the movie, it seems to lose a lot of the great stuff in the book. It really shows Harry's struggles in this film. Everything from the Ministry of Magic to Argus Filch is sneering at him. He's got this connection with Voldemort that's changing him. He feels so alone in this film. Like, I think one of the best ways to put it is in when he's at just after Mr. Weasley's being attacked, and he shuts himself away for about 5 days, and he's in the bedroom at Grimmauld Place. And he hears people talking. This anger building up inside him, feeling, it's a real difference. Because in the first books, Harry's always been this really popular guy. I know in the fourth book, for about a week and a half, everyone hated him because he's in the Triwizard Tournament, but everyone gets over that after he beats a dragon. But in this film, from start to finish, literally half of school really does hate. Even his closest friends, Seamus, really, there's this real attack on him, and it's a real struggle. He gets tortured basically by Umbridge. him and Dumbledore got their backs against the wall. He feels so alone. Dumbledore won't speak to him. He's being left alone in the Muggle. It's just all about Harry having this complete change of everyone, not worshipping him, but him being this guy, or his hero. But now he's like enemy number one. Don't listen to him. The Ministry are trying to get him expelled from Hogwarts. Everyone's against him, and it's a real change to all the other ones. And the storyline again, you don't see it if you just watch the film, but there's some really cool stuff over the beginning with the Dementor scenes. It's so much expanded with Mrs. Fig, talking about she's connected with the Wizarding World. Then you get to explore some really cool places like the Ministry of Magic. You've heard about it, but now you're in there, and then obviously the ending parts with the duel. It's much more than just what you see in the film. The end part, where the death of Sirius, really. You've got all these different rooms. The brain room, the space room, and people do get hurt. Ron almost gets killed. There's a lot of near deaths in this. Obviously Sirius's death. I think it's done better in the film. I think Sirius' death and the possession part. I think the possession scene in the fifth film is done much better than in the book. But these scenes, the storyline of it, of the whole book, is so good. In between while he's at Hogwarts, you have Sirius almost getting caught by Umbridge, in the fire. You see the rule of Umbridge more in the book than the film. How hard it is for Harry and his friends now. After the DA, everything literally, it's like a dictatorship with Umbridge. Everyone, you can't go anywhere. It's all about the Slytherins. The Gryffindor, you have to walk in two people. You get a real good insight on Harry's life in that year compared to the movie. And if they'd have kept a lot more stuff in from the book into the movie, I think it'd been what a great movie. It's so short as well, the fifth one. I don't understand why they couldn't have put all the great storylines you have in there. There's always different storylines. St. Mungo's, they go there.
Yeah.
And even the Order of the Phoenix are starting to think Harry's mad, going crazy, a bit weird. And it's just all about. It's such a change for Harry, because once everyone finds at the end of the book Voldemort's back, everyone's on Harry's side again. And he's the pinpoint, the chosen one almost. So yeah, it's just different. Like with Prisoner of Azkaban, it changes the story, the viewpoint of Harry. I think it's an excellent book, even though it is the longest, and maybe that's why it is the best, because there's so much stuff and storylines in it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed reading The Order of the Phoenix when I finally actually did, because like you said, it elaborates on so much because it's so long, and it makes you feel like you're I don't know, almost like you're there battling this feeling with him, because it goes into detail really a lot, really deep.
And obviously the Snape's worst memory. You see a lot more stuff about Harry's past. James and Lily. What happened between them, Snape and Lupin, and you get to see a lot more of Lupin, Sirius, and the Order of Tonks and stuff. In the book, you learn a great deal about them as well. And family connections between Bellatrix Lestrange, Lucius Malfoy, and it sort of makes sense. If you watch the movies later on when we're talking about Draco's relation to Sirius and Tonks and all that, and also how everything gets taken away from Harry. It's the Quidditch scene. I think that's one of my favourite scenes in the book. When Harry, Fred, and George get banned from Quidditch. Everything's against Harry. They attack Malfoy, and then Hagrid and McGonagall getting attacked. In one of the exams.
Yeah.
It shows there's a real rebellion at Hogwarts. Not just the students, but the teachers stand together with the students against Umbridge. With McGonagall going to attack Ministry officials to save Hagrid. It's real standing together sort of thing, and it doesn't seem apparent at the time, but you sort of see this good side to Snape as well. Obviously, if you look back, he's the one who warns the the order of things about Harry, how Harry's seeing and stuff, and it shows, it gives you clues about what's going to happen in the next book, and it does have it's a very good. I know it's a sad ending, but you learn the truth about Harry's past in that book, with the prophecy and what's going to happen next.
Well, I mean that I don't agree that it's my favorite, but I mean I agree with
Yeah.
what you say. I love the book. It's a great book. So I'd say
I
it's a
mean,
very good
like I said, we
explanation.
all are. I'm not saying it's better. It's just, I mean, they're all great. I think that's why it's so hard to pick your favorite and least favorite and stuff. 'Cause, I
Um,
mean, they all are good. We're not saying the bad, are we?
no,
Well,
definitely not.
no. So, what is your favorite?
Now, just in the interest of giving an explanation, because it's always been a toss up since I reread the series between Half Blood Prince and Prisoner of Azkaban. Obviously, Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm gonna say, is my favorite because I just love the Prisoner of Azkaban as a story and as a whole. But I'm going to say in this podcast for now that I'd say Half Blood Prince is right up there with it, so I'm going to explain why I enjoy Half Blood Prince, because I can't explain why I like Prisoner of Azkaban so much, because they didn't really leave a lot out in the movie. So it'd be the exact same
No,
explanation as why I like the movie. It's got a great story, great
except the
characters, and all
camera
of the
angles.
story is fun and entertaining. That's it.
But yeah,
So
no, Half-Blood Prince was my second, on the list.
So I'll say Half
But
Blood
yeah, go
Prince
on.
is it's so close to being number one that I'm just gonna explain why. Um, I
Yeah,
I'm gonna preface this for now that I don't care too much for the movie, and that's our next topic. But the book is fantastic. It's the first book I read when I reread the series, or I guess technically read the series for the first time as a whole in 2014. So there's that. And that's the book that made me want to go and buy all the other ones so I can reread them or read them in a whole again. So that should say a lot because that book it's not as long as Order of the Phoenix, but it's close, like maybe 100, 200 pages less. Um just
yeah,
the story obviously is great. The book does a hell of a lot better job of explaining everything going on because I don't understand what they
definitely.
did with the movie. Um,
No,
Things like the Battle of the Astronomy Tower was incredible in the book. Dumbledore's death was handled way better, and the funeral was actually
oh yeah.
sad.
The
um,
well, I mean, we don't even see a funeral in the movie, but the memories as well.
yeah, no, I was gonna say the
Bob.
memories.
Yeah,
The memories, like learning about Voldemort's past, is one of the most interesting things in the entire series. Because I'm not saying it humanizes him, because it definitely doesn't. Because he kills without remorse. He's a piece of shit, but you see a side of Voldemort that you'd never seen before. With his rise to power, I guess it's sort of like something that you would imagine him doing, but just learning about the things that led him to where he was is entertaining as fuck. Um, just like learning about the Gaunts and the Ring and why Voldemort can't love, and learning about his mother falling in love with his dad and using the love
mm.
potion and being like
It
hated because of
also
that.
it also makes it makes more sense, in the seventh film. If you just watch the films, like why did he pick the cup of Hufflepuff or the diadem of Ravenclaw? Well, I mean, it goes into why in the book, in the sixth one, how he gets to that, with the Hephzibah Smith, she shows him the cup of Hufflepuff, and that's how he got it. It doesn't explain in the movie, like when you get to, how do you get Helga Hufflepuff's cup,
Yeah.
and like it explains also like why he has such connections with certain places. Albania, for example, that's where the diadem was hidden by Helena Ravenclaw. And it shows it. it develops the story and it develops Voldemort as a character because obviously you don't see him in the book. You know, I don't know what he does. Like he's just come back to power, so I don't know really what he will not. He's come out in the open now, but yeah, and it starts. You start seeing this really dark tone. You know, I think is it Hannah Abbott's mum dies, like parents are dying. You know, it's real turmoil at Hogwarts, and
It's not even just Hogwarts, the whole
it's
Wizarding world, the
yeah,
Muggle
yeah,
world too. People are dying left and right.
yeah,
Stores are
and
being
like
shut down in Diagon Alley. People being kidnapped. Like there's a
yeah, the
looming
first chapter
danger.
of the book with the British Prime Minister, you know, where Fudge comes in and introduces Rufus Scrimgeour. You know, and you see this relationship as well between Harry and the new Minister of Magic. You know, it's very, and you know, it shows how noble his Scrimgeour is at the end because he refuses to give up Harry even for death. But in like the sixth book, they really do go head to head. You know, they're not fans, and it goes into so much detail about Voldemort that you know, because he's always been this character, like, you know, if you've just watched the movies or read the first few books, like, why does he do this? Like, how is he less human? Why does he look like that and stuff? And
Yeah, I don't think in the
what
movies it's
like,
ever explained why Voldemort can't love. It's just Dumbledore says that he can't, and that's it. You just
yeah,
take it like it's like he's speaking
and
gospel.
like, and like, it never explains why he, in the second film, you know, when you see Tom Riddle, he's a normal person, but it doesn't go into why he's, you know, snake-like, you know, he's less human, really. You know, he looks less human and stuff, you know, and you get to explore this like connection because obviously it then goes into Voldemort. It talks about the Perel brothers, you know, the Perel coat of arms with the ring, how they're related. You know, it spams this sort of connection between Harry and Voldemort in sort of a relation, like the sort of a distant relation, because but obviously both related to the Perel brothers.
It's yeah, I mean the book again, don't care much for the movie, but the book it explains so much. Like it's so vital. It's like I wouldn't say it's like the lifeblood of the series, but it's definitely like it's so important and it sets everything up for the finale so perfectly that I mean it doesn't feel like a filler book by any means, but if you didn't have it, you'd be so confused in the last book
Mm.
or movie. You know, things like learning, oh, Voldemort uses Horcruxes to stay alive. That's all explained in the sixth book, all of it. Never mentioned before. I mean, you know, you see the diary be destroyed in the second book and movie, but you don't know it's called a Horcrux. You just piece of Voldemort's soul was in there. Ooh. Um, you learn about his past. You
Yeah,
learn like, it's just Harry and Ginny's relationship feels normal in the book.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and I think I forgot to mention about the fifth one as well. It goes into a relationship about Cho and Harry a lot more than in the movies. Obviously, time constraints, but you know, you get in the sixth one, Harry's and Ginny's relationship. You know, it goes into depth about like how it happened. You know, it's not just one random kiss in the room. You know, it's been, you know, you can. It goes into Harry's mind, which is something that you can struggle. Obviously, in a movie, you can't go into someone's thoughts about something, but it is better explained in the book. Even though Half-Blood really did try and go for a lot of romance, I don't know if it succeeded in that.
well, to see the movie felt like it felt wrong the way they were going about it. In the book, all of the relationships that are mentioned, which I think is just Harry and Ginny, or Harry and Dean, or not Harry and Dean, Ginny and Dean and stuff like that. But
You
then
been writing some
there's
fan fiction again?
no, God no. And then there's Ron and Lavender, which is fucked. I mean, they did a good job. I guess they did a good job with that in the movie. Uh,
Mm.
but you see a
You know,
lot
it's
more
this
of
underlying thing
Hermione's
of
like
Hermione and
hatred
Ron.
for that
Yeah.
and like jealousy, and I feel like some people who hate on the relationships in the movies or like just hate on the relationships in the series. I'm not saying all, so people who are watching, I'm not saying all, but I feel like some of the people who don't like the relationships, like why does Hermione end up with Ron, or why does Harry end up with Ginny? If you read the books, it makes sense. All right, and I mean the seeds are planted. In the second movie when Ginny is like in love with Harry, she's always had a crush on him. I mean, everybody knows that. So.
But I don't think it helps either when J.K. Rowling did come out and say, "Oh, I think I made a bit of a mistake here. I think Harry and Hermione should have ended up together." And people obviously then start going, they can use that as an argument, and it doesn't help when that's being said. But I don't know. I might be one of those people who always thought I'm one of those people who always thought McGonagall and Dumbledore were going to get together though. But it turns out Dumbledore were gay. There we go.
All right. Well,
broke my heart. That.
Next here, we've got least favorite movie and book. Now let's not get too much into this because we are over an hour now.
Oh God! Right. I mean, I think we least favorite movie, Half-Blood Prince. I think we just explain why, because it leaves so much crucial evidence out and importance from the book.
And they add shit that doesn't need to be there. Just to fill screen time for whatever reason. Don't get me wrong, alright? You still need to watch the movie, because it's important. And it's beautifully shot as well. We can't take anything away from that. It's beautifully shot. The cinematography
is the only thing.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like
it won quite a lot of awards for that, I think.
The light, it did. The lighting and the tone, and like just it felt dark, but it felt like a lot. It didn't feel like a lot of the movies didn't feel like they had a hue to it. But like if you watch Half-Blood Prince, it feels like there's like a brown hue to everything. You know what I mean? Like it's like super dark, but it's brown and gray, and it just has a tone of unease, which is important because the whole fucking point of that movie is unease. So they did a good job with that. And I also think the movie did a good job of showing why Draco, or showing Draco's like decline into madness almost.
Yeah, I think obviously. Yeah, I think it's hard to show that in the book because obviously it's all from Harry's point of view, other than like a few chapters here and there in the book series. But it's all from Harry's point of view. You look at the world from Harry's eyes in the book, so you can't really just dive off to Draco in the Room of Requirement. Chapter 12, Draco's, whatever. So it did a good job of showing like what Draco was up to, like his decline from when you first see him in Diagon Alley. He's all he's. And on the Hogwarts expression, he's really looking forward to the job, to when he gets hit with Sectum Sempra to the end when he fails to kill Dumbledore.
Yeah, he seemed like they did a good job with that. The movie did great with that because you could tell in his eyes and like his hair and his overall appearance that
he's pale. His face got paler.
His face is pale. He's got bags under his eyes. He's not caring about his face or his hair or anything because he's stressed. I mean, that's a stressful fucking job. You gotta kill one of the most famous wizards of all time in a school.
Oh, you're getting killed.
Oh yeah, or you're gonna die and your parents are gonna die or whatever. Like, it's fucking terrible. I think Draco's character. The movie, again, like I said, it did a good job of trying to humanize Draco because obviously he's not as bad as he says he is.
Yeah, in the first few, he's just a bully in the first few, nothing more. Oh, my father heard about this, that's all he ever says. Or Potter. And like in the sixth one, he's got this. He's like Harry's the chosen one on the good side. He's almost a chosen one for the Death Eaters. Voldemort's chosen him almost as a punishment, though, not as a hero thing, but as a punishment for what his dad did and his aunt did at the Ministry. And like it shows like how both deal with it, how Harry deals with being the chosen one to kill Voldemort, how Draco is the chosen one to kill Dumbledore.
I think just the unspeakables, like I'm gonna rapid fire all of these points as to why Half-Blood Prince isn't that great of a movie. It glosses over Dumbledore's death completely. They have the wand tribute, that's it. There's no funeral for some reason. There's no battle of the astronomy tower. It's just some weird montage of them walking through the castle in a weird way and blowing up Hagrid's hut. Snape's announcement that he's the Half-Blood Prince isn't that grand in the movie. It doesn't feel like a big reveal because there's not that much intrigue in who he is. The burrow scene with the fire is completely unnecessary and just waste of screen time, in my opinion. Like, I've said this before in a comment, but like when they find them in the 7th movie and book, like at the burrow, it doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal because they've already found the burrow.
We've done it before.
So it's like it doesn't have the same feeling of like, oh shit, they found us, we're fucked, because they already found you a year before and they burned your house down. So like, I hated that scene. It was unnecessary. Didn't need to be there. They could have put the Battle of the Astronomy Tower at least a little bit if they didn't have that scene. So I didn't care much for that. Again, the relationships were kind of glossed over. Harry and Ginny's relationship just didn't feel right. Just felt random, out of the blue. Some of the memories should have been in there that were in the book. I mean, again, time constraints are a thing, so I'm not going to shit on them for the memories too much. Long? Yeah, it wasn't that long, but I feel like the memories were fine.
Battle of Ishigami Tower. Yeah, Battle of Ishigami Tower definitely needs to be in there. I think,
Bill just shows up as a werewolf in the 7th movie, and nobody asks why. That's a weird thing. We haven't picked up on. Like, I met Greyback just walking my dog yesterday. Greyback jumps out. I mean, it's not that crazy to think of because you do see him later in that movie, and he is a snatcher. So I guess it's not too out of the realm of possibility that you just happen to see him out there.
But I think the snatchers came into power after the Miniature had fallen.
Perhaps, yeah, that's a good point. So who knows? I mean, that should have been in there. I feel like I was gonna say, the memories that they chose were fine, and if they didn't want to put more, then that's fine, because I think all of that was fine. Like, the memories that they chose worked.
Yeah.
Dumbledore and Harry going to the cave memories was great.
Michael Gambon's performance there, perfect.
And just that whole scene where like Dumbledore is like showing his incredible magical power, even on the brink of death, killing all the Inferi with like, that shit's badass. But it's just, it felt flat, and if they would have gotten rid of the scene with the burrow and they would have had at least a little bit of the Battle of the Astronomy Tower, you at least see Bill turn into a werewolf, or at least get fucked up, and had at least a bit of the stinking funeral in the movie.
Yeah, just like, you see people at the funeral, and then the camera sort of raises up on Dumbledore's coffin, and the film ends there.
Yeah, like, if those would have been in, if those would have been in there, the movie would have been great. It would have been great. I wouldn't even hate, like, I don't hate it, but I really dislike it just because I know how much better it could have been. Because
of the book.
Yeah, because of the book. So
I think that's comparing book and movie sometimes is a good thing. That's how I've compared. That's why I picked Half-Blood Prince, because I've compared it to the book. But I don't know if we should do that or not. But it's our opinion. So worst book. That is the hardest question.
I don't know if I want to say worst book. I'm gonna say least favorite book. I'm just gonna go ahead and say the Sorcerer's Stone, just because it's the shortest.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
And
that's mine.
That's it. Like, there's really no other reason why. It's just the shortest.
I think it's got a different style as well. Like, it almost feels like a kid's book. Then obviously I'm over 11, and but the way the dialogue's spoken, the way everything's described, it's all glossy, it's all happy, and as much as oh yes, it's wondrous Hogwarts. You get later in the series, and they just
They're
I
better
enjoy
written.
them more. The action, yeah,
They feel
and
more impactful. I just like dark things, man. I just like to be depressed.
yeah, and
and that's it.
I do. I like to read about series. He's definitely just a looping of Frank George and all them. Spoiler if just gets to me, but I enjoy it.
I think
But
we're
yeah,
gonna have to
Philosopher's
skip the
Stone,
fan
all
theories
sorcerers.
for now. We're gonna have to gloss over some of these topics because this is getting really long.
Yeah,
Favorite
we're
moment
really
in
not
the
good at keeping stuff
series?
concise. Possession of Harry. The in the Order of the Phoenix, just everything about that scene. It's much better than in the book. See all the music, the scenes from the past movies. Dumbledore saying, it's not how you are. It's not how you are alike Harry. It's how you are different. All that just combining. And then when Harry Voldemort comes out of him because of the love Harry's feeling. And he goes. The dialogue Harry says, I feel sorry for you. You can feel no love or friendship. But a close second, I don't know why. I don't think anyone else will care. But I always get teared up at the end of Chamber of Secrets when Hagrid comes back.
No,
And,
that
there's no
always
Hogwarts
gets me
without you,
too.
Hagrid.
That always
And
gets
everyone
me
starts
too.
clapping.
It's just a beautiful
That line,
scene,
there's no
like,
Hogwarts without you, Hagrid. Yeah. The music, the reunion of friends, what a great track. And it's the last time you see
everybody
Richard
clapping,
Harris.
the love.
All the great hall and the music and just that line. There's no Hogwarts without you, Hagrid. Wow, just gets me. But yeah, what about you?
See, this is hard. I'm just gonna say like top 3 and just rapid fire again.
Yeah,
Possession scene, just for everything you've said because
yeah,
it's fantastic. Like it's so good. Fuck. I just had it in my head. The possession scene, fuck. I really like this, like, it's a really random moment, but I really like the end of the Deathly Hallows movie where they're just standing on the bridge and like
oh yeah, well, he
and
snaps
just,
for
you
one.
can see all the rubble of Hogwarts and Harry's just staring off the cliff and just you can
Yeah.
see everything that happened and it feels like the end of such a huge adventure because it is, but it feels like the end of such a huge adventure. Like you feel almost relieved at that point in the movie, you know what I mean? Like you feel like
Yeah.
you were like, it's so tense and action packed. Like it's the first time in the series almost where it's just it's over, you know? You get that
everything's
overwhelming feeling of just
And then it fades black and igniting it. Yeah. Another thing, I know we've talked about it really quick, but when Harry comes back to life in air quote, after and he jumps out of Hagrid's arms, like I don't know why. I know it's got to happen every time, but we've talked about it. And each time it happens, we have this like little exciting feeling inside of you. Oh my god.
yeah, you're like, holy shit, he's
The
alive.
music starts playing.
Same with
yeah,
when
even
same
though you
with
know
when
it's going to
Neville-
happen, but there's always this like feeling inside you, and the music starts blaring, and oh yes, it's time.
I told you as well the other night, like a couple days ago after I watched Deathly Hallows, but that scene where Harry and Ron and Hermione show up through the portrait in the Room of Requirement, that's another one of those moments where like you just I know it happens,
get that, yeah.
but you get goosebumps
like-
still.
Yeah, and like you almost have the reaction that like everyone in the Room of Requirements is having, oh yes, the
And then followed up
surprise
by-
that Harris is back.
And then of course it's followed up by the great dialogue from Seamus, oh you
Oh yeah,
she's your brother you see every day. There's only one Harry. that
Yeah,
gets me every time.
yeah. No, Ron goes. I haven't seen him for 6 months, and she talks to me like I'm a Frankie first year. She's got tons of brothers. Wrong, because there's only one Harry.
And I remember the one I was gonna say before the end.
Oh yeah.
The Priori Incantatem scene in the Goblet of Fire.
Oh yeah.
Like the first time you ever see like the wands connect. I mean, I know they overdid it later in the movies. You know, it's just like that's just a magical thing that happens. But you know, if you've read the books, that only happens there, and on I think another time, right?
But I don't know if like no, I think that's no, but I don't think like later in the movies. I think that's just spells connecting. Like the Prior Incantatio is where the ghosts come out. That's what that part is. But I also really like fourth and fifth year talks with Dumbledore at the end of the films. There's a lot of emotion in them scenes.
There is. The Priori Incantatem scene though, that was the last movie I seen in the theaters. So like when I left the theater after that movie, it just felt incredible. Like you felt, fuck, man. That's the first time Harry and Voldemort have ever fought in the series.
Yeah.
And you can feel like, holy shit, Harry actually has a chance. Because he didn't just die like everyone else. He didn't just lay down and die. Like, this 14-year-old kid gets tortured, runs away, and instead of trying to fucking find the cup, he just walks on back like, fuck you, if this is how it's gonna go. It's like a Mexican standoff almost. Like,
oh yeah,
he's just like, fuck it, dude.
If
I'm gonna die, I'm going down
before,
fighting.
Like, the fire of spells, isn't there? You know, it's like he goes, Voldemort goes, I want to see the light leave your eyes when I kill you. And then Harry just steps out from behind the grave. Fine, have it your way then. And there's like 2 seconds where they're staring into each other's eyes, and then they cast the spells.
It's awesome. It's the first time you see Harry, like, it's the first time you see. I don't want to say it's the first time you see Harry as a hero, because it's not, obviously. The first 3 movies paint him as this gigantic hero, but it's the first time Harry's like, you see Harry with like aggression and like, I'm fucking hate this son of a bitch. Like, you feel it. You feel like the face he makes when, like you said, when he says like, I want to see the light leave your eyes, and he makes that pissed off face and like heaves his chest, and he's just like, ugh, you know.
Come at me then.
Exactly.
Square go like.
It's a great.
If you don't know what that's from, just search Harry, you're a wizard.
It's a great Gmod video. It's one of the best videos ever. But yeah, those are my favorite moments. Favorite character. Now I'm gonna say exclude the main 3. Favorite character.
I mean, they weren't even in my selection. They would never in my selection. Yeah, fuck Harry. Useless. Kill that. He's the reason half the wizarding population's dead. But no, it's between Sirius and Lupin. I'm just gonna put them both together because they're like best mates. We just like the pinscapers for Harry's father relationships for 3 films. You know, obviously there's this moment where Harry, he hates them both. Obviously throughout the 3rd film, he absolutely just wants to kill Sirius Black. He almost gets the chance, but like Lupin, he sees as this, you know, he can. Them 2 can sort of live James through Harry, you know, and obviously Sirius calls Harry James sometimes, and like the emotion you see is like, I think like the only times Sirius is deaf, you know, you can see Harry's like pain, you know, he sort of feels his fault, but like them 2 are just the fun, the mischievous, and like they sort of let Harry be an adult, you know, instead of letting, you know, Molly in like all the other things, you know, sort of treats him as this kid, but Lupin and Sirius sort of treat him as this adult, you know, let him express himself. You know, there's a moment in the 7th book, obviously, where Lupin and Harry have that massive argument in Grimmauld Place, and then Lupin names Harry his son's godfather, and you know, the sort of relationship them 3 characters have, it's really cool. I mean, a lot of stereotypical people go probably Snape is my favourite character, but 2 people came quite close as a second, Fred and George. I don't know, explain why them 2 are great characters, but
no,
yeah,
they're great. I see. It's hard for me.
Yeah,
'Cause there's so many great characters. You know, you could say like
yeah,
Hagrid or Lupin or Snape
yeah.
or McGonagall, Dumbledore. Like there's so many good characters. Uh, but one who joined really late in the series, who I really enjoy, is Luna.
See, I'm not a fan. I don't. I mean, I've told you this, but I'm not a fan of Luna. But a lot of people. I mean, like everyone else is. I don't know why.
I love
I'm not. I
Luna.
don't know why I'm not. Not like I don't know why people like her.
Let me tell you why I like her. Because she's so quirky and weird and interesting. Like it's like she's so out there, but like she knows exactly what she's talking about. Like she's passionate about everything that she does, even if it's fucking weird to other people. And
Yeah,
she's not wrong about things. Like what? Like in the Deathly Hallows when she's like, Ravenclaw's diadem. You're going the wrong place. Go talk to fucking Helena. So like, she knows things, and she's not like she acts crazy, but she's not crazy. She's just different. She's a unique specimen. Like I said about the Prisoner of Azkaban, I really like things that are unique, and Luna is like the exact definition of unique in the Harry Potter series. And just her like I forget who plays her again.
Ivana Lynch.
Ivana Lynch. Her voice is just perfect. Like the casting was perfect for Luna. Perfect. I mean, I read the books after watching the movies, but like you can't imagine Luna and not think Ivana Lynch because she did
no, even like
so
I think.
good.
Yeah, it was an open casting for Luna Lovegood, and like thousands of people turned up, and they just as soon as Ivana Lynch did it, they just knew she is her. I think it like J.K. Rowling and Ivana Lynch were a pen pal sort of thing before she was even cast, and the paintings on the wall in this Deathly Hallows book of the friends thing of Harry and Ron all painted on Luna's wall. That was an idea from Ivana Lynch that J.K. Rowling took off her because she had her favourite quotes of Harry Potter like painting on the wall and stuff. But yeah, J.K. Rowling even said like Luna Lovegood and Ivana Lynch are like almost the same person.
I want to say Hagrid's probably a close second just for obvious reasons. He's like
Hagrid.
He's
just his
Hagrid,
hugs.
man. He's like a big
yeah,
brother.
Yeah, it's his hugs.
He's like a big brother to Harry, almost like a big.
That last hug in Deathly Hallows. Wow, that's the last time you'll see him hug. They hug all the time, like a bear hug.
I always liked their first hug in the end of Sorcerer's Stone when he's going.
Oh yeah, that scene now. It didn't like obviously now Harry Potter's finishing. It's 16, 17 years ago almost. The film that's the first scene they ever filmed, and that the music there and Hagrid, go on then, go on, get on with you. Yeah, Hagrid's beautiful guy.
I mean, Harry was like so young, and Daniel Radcliffe was so young, and like he could barely, his arms like barely covered the front of Hagrid, and it's just it's adorable almost. Like, like Harry hasn't had people in his life that he could trust and love because obviously the Dursleys treated him like shit, but like Hagrid's like the first friend that Harry really ever had, like a first real friend. And it's beautiful. I'm so glad that Hagrid never died because I probably wouldn't have been able to handle it.
No, God no.
We're gonna gloss over fan theories for now. We're just gonna skip it. Maybe podcast number 2 we'll go into them because we're already at an hour
maybe
and
just
almost 30 minutes.
Wow, don't feel like that, but yeah.
So we're gonna end it on a high note.
We could talk for years about fan theories.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna end it on a high note. Fondest memory of the series.
Oh, right. This is a hard one, right? I think. Like at the end of Deathly Hallows Part 2, I was in the cinema and just, I don't know, feeling sort of lost. Like, it's over. What do I do now? seeing them 19 years later. Just remembering, like, I can always remember the time going to watch the last film, and yeah, just like, it's a happy memory, but like, because I've grown up with this, it's been brilliant.
Bittersweet.
It's ended, yeah, and I just remember just stood there in the cinema afterwards, just thinking, what now? What's gonna happen now? But yeah, that's mine.
I've told you this, but like a whole other reason why I love Prisoner of Azkaban so much is when I were younger and after I went through this whole Chamber of Secrets phase and I watched it like every day, there was a website. I don't for the life of me remember what it was. It was probably just the official Harry Potter website. But they had like all the ads for Sirius Black on there. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
But like they had
the Harry Potter, the fish, yeah.
The whole website was dedicated to like who is Sirius Black, and like, you know, they'd have the animated picture of him like with his head, like him screaming and looking whatever direction with the plate.
Yeah,
in
that
his
was my
hand.
phone case.
And like, when it when it went to theaters in America, I don't know if it went to theaters earlier in the UK. I have no idea, but
No, I think it was the same time.
when I went to theaters, I was on vacation up north in my state. So like, here where I live, which is New Hampshire, for those who don't know, the further you go north, the more rural it gets. So, we were up in the mountains almost, like we were close to the mountains, and like we were staying a couple nights at a hotel, and like we would just go out and do things like, you know, mini golf and shit like that with my parents and my brother and my sister. But I remember we were driving past like a rickety ass old movie theater, and like you could tell it was rickety and old just by looking at it, but you could also tell because the sign had like the movies that were playing, but it wasn't a digital sign. It was like one of those, you know, like the paper signs, you take like the letters and you like stick them on there.
Yeah.
It was that.
There's one thing more like that in near me still now.
It was like that, and it said Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and it was showing like really soon when we were driving past, and I asked my mom, I was like, I have to go see that. Like, we have to. We're here. Please. Like, we're spending all this money this weekend. Let me go see this movie, please. So we got to the hotel. My mom drove me and my sister over there. We went in. Like, it had, like, that glass case on the outside where you'd buy the tickets and you'd just go. Like, it was just a regular theater. Like, it wasn't, like, a big megaplex of, like, separate theaters. It was just a theater where we just sat down and watched it. So, like, the ambiance was perfect for The Prisoner of Azkaban. It was all like, you know, it was an old movie theater. It was all rickety and old and just
like the Shrieking Shack.
Yeah, like the Shrieking Shack. Like, it just felt right, and I remember it so fondly. Like, it's something that I will probably never forget. Just such a random memory, right? But like, it felt perfect. And of course, I really loved the movie as well, but it felt so right that it just imprinted into my mind, and I can't forget it now. So yeah, that's all the things on our topic list. We are at 1 hour and 28 minutes, 29 now.
Wow, it don't feel like that, to be fair.
No, it doesn't. I expected this. When we first started doing this, I expected us to go like 40 minutes, but here we are. Just like the Hogwarts
it took us 40 minutes.
Video.
Yeah, that took us 40 minutes. Make sure it took 10.
The idea was 10. I don't mind doing a 1 hour and 30 minute podcast. If you guys enjoyed this podcast and you actually listened to it all the way through, first of all, bless your soul. Second of all, thanks for watching.
Hope you enjoyed.
I mean, this is our first time. I've been on a podcast before, but
yeah, no, so have I. You know, it's not first time for Harry Potter as well. So
Yeah, it's the first
there.
Harry Potter podcast. It's the first podcast I'm ever doing on my own channel. So
Yeah.
if you want to see more, because we could definitely talk about Harry Potter all day, let us know. And thank you to the people who commented on the 3-year anniversary video saying you'd really want to see a podcast, because we wouldn't have done it if you didn't. First of
No.
all.
And comment what your least favourite stuff are, like the questions we've asked and answered today. Just comment yours down below. We can discuss them.
I'll leave the topic list in the description, so if you just want to copy and paste and like leave your stuff down there, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Like I want
We
to see.
can have a good discussion.
Yeah. I respond to most comments because I don't get too many, so
I like to troll, saying stuff about me and Michael.
yeah, if you ever see somebody like really hating on my shit, it's most likely Connor, so don't go too crazy.
Literally, I don't do it on a random account. It is my account, so you'll see Connor.
Alright.
But
Well,
yeah, hope you have enjoyed.
thank
goodbye.
you guys for listening.
Farewell.
Hope you enjoyed. I hate ending videos. Goodbye.